well prepared for this, but we'll have to see how it goes. But ladies and gentlemen, this is round 3 in the Kaspersky Arena here on Heart of the Swarm, here on BaseTradeTV, Rifkin and Nova casting. This is game 1 in the new brand new best of 5 between HeRoMaRinE and Tarrantius. Sit tight, hope you enjoy the game. Nova, take it away.
So in the bottom left, playing for Team Mouz Sports, it's going to be the blue Terran player HeRoMaRinE.
And his opponent in the upper right corner of the map, playing for Alien Invasion, it is Tarrantius, the red Protoss.
It's actually nice to see that Alien Invasion is still around. I feel Alien Invasion is kind of an overlooked, like, it gets like less exposure than, for example, a Mouz Sports.
I think, personally, from casting several players from both teams, well, not Mouz Sports and what I'm about to reference, but I think Alien Invasion and Against All Authority, I agree, have some of the most underrated players and underrated exposure there is out there, because you got players like Neo Angel on Against All Authority, you got players like Tarrantius on Alien Invasion, Real whenever he comes back to playing. I mean, there's a lot of good players on both these teams. But again, these are guys who don't bring home the big, you know, grand prize, #1s, DreamHack Stockholm, you know, like it. So they get kind of pushed to the wayside, I feel, as far as exposure goes. But that doesn't make them any less of a good player.
Yeah, of course. I totally agree.
But okay, we got Tarrantius going for a gate opening as well. I love that. I love the way that this is not really changed. Like, you would never see a Forge Fast expand necessarily out of Protoss against a Terran in the past, but what changes is the amount of aggression that can be applied. That Mothership Core, we talked about it earlier today, we'll talk about it again. It adds so much to the poke potential of a Protoss.
Yeah, like if people who weren't here earlier in the soccer versus HeRoMaRiNE's game, basically the one Zealot Stalker Mothership Core pressure did a lot of damage to him, and yeah, perhaps Tarrantius is aiming to do something similar, and I see it's just really strong pressure early on from Protoss, which it's something you didn't really have in Wings, right? Yeah, except when you recommit really hard to pressure, then of course, but then you're all in, right?
There's that word again, that phrasing, all in. Of course,
No,
you know,
there's only one race who's truly all in, that's a Terran who pulls the CVs.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, do you remember the days before they nerfed the health on SCVs? Like, how many Terran games would it be? You just see those 55 health SCVs with like 4 or 5 Marines storm into a base. Didn't matter what race, didn't matter what map. You would just win every time.
Yeah, that's how me and a friend actually got mastered in 2v2. We did that every game. 3 racks SCV all in.
Wow, you guys are really
very
lame.
boring. We're very boring.
Yeah. Yeah, as we get into this, big shout outs to Elo Run. See him joining us here today. Thank you, thank you. But Factory coming out, and again, I'm curious to see how he's going to utilize the Factory. We haven't seen almost any Widowmine usage out of HeRoMaRinE. We did see it in the first series, you know, a couple Marines, or sorry, Widowmines matched with handfuls of Marines at a time, but nothing truly abusive out of HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we're just gonna see something similar. I mean, I don't see him switching it up necessarily.
Well, gonna get in here and scout the base, seeing that the natural is down. Should be able to actually confirm the Robo. Let's check that vision. Does see it. But again,
Yeah,
this is nothing too out of the ordinary. An old early Robo would have been like, oh my god, Warp Prism, Colossus, something crazy's on the way. But now it's like, oh no, that's probably just for observers. In fact, that is almost certainly for observers, because I'm a Terran player and I have Widow Mines.
Yeah, and it's like a common thing. I had to adapt to it first as well. When I started playing, I was like getting owned by Proxy Factory all the time, and it's just because of that you get the quick Robo really, and plus the extra benefit of having nice map control. Observer for the drops, one with your army, one for to scout his base side, so it's nice.
Oh, pause please, going to Tarrantius. But this is the same sort of composition, look at this. One small Widow Mine, probably second one rallied for it as well with a handful of Marines. And do you have an idea what he's saying? Because I do not.
No, I actually have no idea. My German is like my weakest. It's like, I would say language is another Dutch, English, French, German.
Well, hopefully someone here knows what they're saying, but... Oh, okay, I've had that happen before. It's a bug on Battle.net right now. For those who don't know what that means, he's currently set on busy, but he's still getting messages of people logging in and sending in PMs, and it can be very distracting when you're playing a high stakes game like this. Because again, this is one best of 5 for €300. There's no joking around. There's no messing around with this. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and it's there for grabs, and it would be quite annoying that you get distracted by such a small thing.
Yeah, even the ping from the sound of someone signing in is annoying. But oh man, if HeRoMaRinE, if you could just scan this observer, he's not been one to do that today. I have to say, like, that's where you see the true experience of players. Like, to give an example, Major is a Terran player who I don't think has ever not seen an observer. Same with Lucifron. Like, these guys are people who they can smell the observers a mile away. They don't even need to see them. They just know that they're there. And I feel like picking off lots of observers in the early game is so crucial because, you know, like, nothing else can be produced out of the robo facility in the meantime if you're constantly forced to reproduce observer and observer and observer and lose it again and again and again.
Yeah, definitely. But he already has the observer on the top in place, and as we predicted, yeah. We're just gonna be... I'm just curious, there's the robo away, but here's the drop in the main. I don't know if it will do much though.
No, it did force the probes back for the time being, but with the stalkers out on the field, he's gonna have no problem driving this back. And, okay, well, I'm just trying to follow the medevac, see where HeRoMaRinE plans to go with this, but he's very limited on what he can do. It's, you know, it's kind of like, okay, all right, jig's up, you got me. Not gonna try to drop again. But Colossus.
Yeah, actually, a question like you see HeRoMaRinE now constantly trying to find gaps to drop, but it's often that when your drops get shut down, that a Terran player is like, nah, rather not drop anymore.
Where is that observer? Okay, it's gonna come back. What am I? We'll get the shot off before it goes down. Sadly, not cost effective, but still, he's denying a lot of mining time for Tarrantius. And more importantly, the psychological game comes into effect. Now, this isn't some like, oh my god, Tarrantius is suddenly, you know, drenched in sweat, paranoid, and scared of what's going to happen. But when you're constantly dropping like that, it can really, like, it just stresses a player out. Like, look left, look right, you know, up, down. Where do I go? Where do I look for next? And suddenly, small things like missing a, you know, putting a probe back into gas, or like forgetting to build a pylon, supply blocking yourself. Small things like that start to build up.
Yeah, or adding your extra gates later, and then suddenly making the follow-up timing from the Terran work because of the distraction.
Yeah. Well, HeRoMaRinE, I mean, he's already dealt with Saki quite nicely today. Tarrantius, I don't know if he's been practicing for Terran for this matchup, but this is starting to look very similar to the Saki series earlier today.
It's a very common thing to... I mean, you either commit to Colossus or you make like one because you have a robo up anyway.
Hold the phone. We've got Gravatic Drive coming out instead of Thermal Lance, instead of Colossus production. I mean, we have one on the field, that's great, but I'm really curious how he plans to use this Gravatic Drive. By the way, guys, makes Warp Prism so stupidly fast. I'm really curious to see what he plans to do here. I've seen a lot of players take one Colossus, drop, pick up, and utilize it in a way that it can't normally be microed, but we've also seen Immortals abused in the past, you know, dropping into the main non-stop. Special tactics, if you will. But Double Forge going on and that Gravatic Drive, I don't know. There's not a lot in the field right now to deal with this. There will be the overcharge, there will be force fields, but this is a huge biomass.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the Speed Prism in general, I like this. It's a very smart play, and it could catch HeRoMaRinE totally off guard if he doesn't scout the Warp Prism. And he doesn't really have anything like any Marines scouting any locations at the moment that he could see.
We have boosters coming up next as well, so we're going to have the Observer speed as well.
Wow.
These are two tech paths I don't often see in TVP, but you know what? For the late game potential, you know what? I'd love to see some Storm Drops. That's not a strategy utilized that much anymore, but it's still effective. It's just a lot more difficult to pull off, but if you've got that speedy Warp Prism, there's no better way to use it.
Yeah, definitely, but it's gonna be like, as soon as the Terran moves out, it's gonna use the Speed Prism to basically counter-attack while he holds the front, but we already see HeRoMaRinE responding on the one Colossus he saw, and he's still making Vikings. He has 6 Vikings on the field, and 7 and 8 are on the way.
Well, it's funny because it's kind of that, it's that metagame again.
Yeah, but it's very common. It was actually Creator Prime who came up with this style, and ever since then, almost every Protoss is doing it.
Well, when you know a Terran player is going to react a certain way, it's kind of the same strategy you use with Zerg. You know, you go Phoenixes to bait out the Hydralisk so that you can effectively go Colossus. Same kind of reverse strategy. You go Colossus to bait out the Bio and the Vikings so you can go Templar. But here comes that Warp Prism. Okay, it's going to hide for the time being.
Yeah, he just needs to wait for the perfect opportunity, because as soon as the Warp Prism is revealed, now with the amount of Vikings he has, it will be quite easy to shut down, I feel. And I like the Sensor Tower as well at the third.
Yeah, but unfortunately the Observer is also positioned right there, so we can see the entirety of the army. So long as it doesn't go anywhere, I mean, this is what Tarrantius is waiting for. He wants to see this army move before he really goes in and drops. Going to try and hide the Warp Prism for as long as possible, but as soon as that army moves out, I mean, that's the perfect opportunity to come in, drop, you know, turn into Warp mode and put, you know, 7 more Zealots in your opponent's main.
Yeah.
We have Storms now on the way. We've got Templar already on the field collecting a lot of energy. And as you stated before, a huge overproduction of Vikings, still continuing to make them. We currently have 10 on the field. And while Vikings landed are not bad DPS, they're not good DPS is the problem.
Yeah, they're not as good as a Hellbat, for example.
Oh god, Hellbats.
Yeah, but have Hellbats instead of the overproduction in Vikings, and it might look a lot stronger than it does now, because Storm is about to be finished. He has 2 Storms on those High Templar he has.
Well, Tarrantius is going to start pushing here. Perfect time to go with that Warp Prism, but he actually might just need the Warpins here home defensively. Some nice force fields going off actually, but not enough to catch for those Storms. High Templar already has got 3 Storms ready to go. None of them being used just yet. Nice force fields will storm all of the Vikings on the ground.
Very nice.
And the units behind the force fields, and no Warpin to follow this up, but enough units here to push this back. Now where's that Warp Prism?
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on it as well, man, but it's not...
It's not doing anything. Well, with the turret there, I can understand. I mean, it's a little hard to get in. He's got to drop those Zealots to take out that turret so he can start to warp units in. But a beautiful hold from Tarrantius, to say the least. Unfortunately, though, that sort of quick trick, like, haha, I went Templar instead of Colossus, is now kind of like, you know, dispersed. Ghost production now on the way.
But it did keep him alive, though. If he went just Colossus with delayed Templars, I think he wouldn't... his chance was a lot smaller to survive that. And also note that the Sensor Tower at the natural, look at the edge, it just doesn't see the Warp Prism.
Just barely doesn't see it now, but we do actually now have Thermal Lance on the way. So going back into Colossus production, we'll have to see, Tarrantius, or sorry, HeRoMaRinE is going to continue his Viking production and not get caught off guard like he did Game 1 versus Sage. But okay, the Warp Prism has been revealed. He also has scouted the base transfer, though, knowing that the long distance mine is going on. Observer positioned here nicely as well, and I guess you can't see the Observer unless it moves in the Sensor Tower, huh?
Yeah, if only Sensor Towers could see observers on the map too, right?
That would be pretty sick, but... HeRoMaRinE, like, that's the thing. This guy, sorry, not even this guy, this kid plays so damn good. It's hard to fault him on anything, but if there's one thing I would say that he could improve in this matchup, it's definitely catching the observers. But there's that drop, a little bit of a warp in here at the third base.
Yeah, and it didn't do anything of economic damage, and the Warp Prism has been revealed, and is he just gonna drop some turrets as a response?
I would love for him to take these 2 Immortals, and instead of relying on them for the army fight, start harassing with them. Because Speed Prism Immortals, they like 2-shot everything. Missile turrets...
Yeah, they're really annoying.
Yeah, missile turrets, supply depots, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like there's a lot of depots in the main, for example, that could be harassed quite easily, but the Sensor Towers won't really allow any type of that stuff to even get close to the main, I feel.
Well, the thing about the main too is you look at it, it's so clustered up right now. It's actually very difficult for HeRoMaRinE to get in and out of that, but it looks like you won't have that problem as the fight is going to be taken to his opponents. Beautiful Storm going down. Does actually pick off quite a few Marines with that one Storm. Colossus production is here. He's got the extended Thermal Lance. Beautiful pre-spread coming out, but he's got to catch some good force fields in. Oh, that EMP getting blanketed on most of the army.
Yeah, but nice spread of the High Templars here. How many High Templars? He only has 2.
The drop in the north cleaned up as well. This cannon's very nicely positioned. Despite boosting, the medevac still falls, and HeRoMaRinE's left only to fight a head-on army here. Oh, pardon me.
So there's 3 Colossus, there's 9 Vikings, that's just enough to deal with these 3 Colossus, but I feel there's not enough Stalkers to support these Colossus. There's only 5 Stalkers, no blink.
Good point. Yeah, there's almost no anti-air here at all. Only mostly an Archon, some Storms as well. And you're right, without the Stalker count, he's continuing to warp in Zealots. These Colossus have nothing to protect him.
Oh, some nice EMPs, and...
But the Zealots are charging forward, no storms are going down. Beautifully done with that snipe. Does completely eradicate the Templar count. There's no more overcharge, he can place it down.
Another good EMP on the Immortals. No more shields, but the warping of Zealots might be enough to...
The Immortals are actually cleaning this up quite nicely, and he's got... I'm surprised he didn't overcharge that Nexus. I think it would have been huge in this fight. There we go, overcharging quite late.
Right now, but it's a bit too little too late, I feel.
Colossus being chased down. It does storm most of the ghosts. Actually, he will... Oh, he lifts the ghosts up! Beautifully done there by HeRoMaRinE as he was about to lose 4 more ghosts.
Yeah, we
Sick.
can definitely say Tarrantius is in big trouble right now. I mean...
There's some sick play coming in here.
He has a nice bank though, let's not forget. HeRoMaRinE is macroing a lot more steadily than he is at the moment, so...
Oh, he's gonna go for a gold base location here too. But the thing is, again, I feel Tarrantius has put this warp prism to waste. Oh, especially as it flies over the army here.
Yeah, he's like, okay...
Oh, he gets the storm off though. Does pick off a medevac even. And unfortunately...
so getting like something out of it at least.
Yeah, and unfortunately the planetary at the 4th base location a little too sturdy for that Zealot warp in to hit.
I think he could have done so much more damage if he went to the 4th at the top. Like from the side.
What do you mean? Who?
Yeah, with the storms. He had two High Templar in the...
Oh, yes. Agreed.
So if he would have stormed the mineral line over there, I think it would have been a bit better.
Well, he only had one storm. There's a Zealot and a High Templar there.
Yeah,
but...
or just keep the War Prism as a surprise and drop the High Templar behind the army as soon as the engagement happens, because he still has that Observer over there too.
That would have been a very effective use of it, actually. I agree with that entirely.
And he has a small flank of units over there.
Well, we got the gold base up and running with a planetary for HeRoMaRinE, and that's pretty much all you need as a Terran player. You know, select all the barracks, spam A, suddenly 5 Marines in queue for every single barracks, you're good to go, but the Vikings are still here.
They're getting a bit too far ahead of himself here, though.
We have stalker count this time, though. Double Colossus.
But still no blink.
But even without the blink, now he's got the potential to ward off the Vikings, whereas before there was no chance of that whatsoever. Ghosts are cloaked. I don't think there's an observer here. The Zealots are skipping right past it, unfortunately. Splash damage catching the uncloaked Ghost, the only way to cause damage to them. And with the Marauders stemming forward, they will clean up the last of the Colossus. But
keeping the Colossus count low, and look, this is where he needs to blink. He could have just blinked, sniped those 2 extra medivacs, and that makes such a...
Yeah, we don't even have blink
like
being
here,
researched.
he got micro out of this right now.
I mean, he's got like, what, 8 gateways of production? Let's check this. 14 gates on the field. So as long as he's got the resources, he can continue to warp in like this. But you're right, without blink, it's really limited on what he can do. Probe is pushing forward, though, with the pylon and the Ghosts. There's no detection for them. They're sniping off of these... Oh, man, the Observer gets picked off immediately.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And
this is the ultimate Terran composition. 3 Observers coming out at a time because, yes, Cloaked Ghosts do so much damage. Even against armored units. Was it like 14 base? Let's check that and confirm.
Yeah, it's 13 base, 26 against light with +3 weapons.
So yeah, I mean, like, as long as you can't detect these ghosts, it doesn't matter how much damage they do. It's the fact that they will whittle away at your army. It's like having Dark Templar out. Something that kind of actually wouldn't be effective. We have got turrets everywhere at this point, planetaries as well. HeRoMaRinE is situated so nicely at this point in the game.
Yeah, definitely this gold base is going to pay off just fine.
But man, like, that Viking Ghost combination is the ultimate Terran combination in my eyes in this matchup. Forget Battlecruisers, forget Ravens. This is it.
But don't forget Hellbats in that as well. It makes it even stronger.
Well, I gotta say, Tarrantius still holding on here with some good storms. 1 good engagement. It's all he really needs to solidify himself back into this. But there's still so many Vikings on the field with +2 upgrades as well. They're just shredding these Colossi to bits. We're gonna have an awkward
spread.
Look here in the lower right, this is going to be awkward.
It's going to be like, oh, you have stuff there too, and the Marauders will be sent there ASAP, I think, as soon as he spots it.
Oh, Tarrantius has got to be careful. Splitting his units like this is actually incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that too much.
Both players on about 70 workers right now. This is going to get to that point in the game where there's enough orbitals on the field. HeRoMaRinE can start throwing some SCVs away, but Archon's going to take a bit of the fire here in the front. EMP's going down. Vikings picking off those Colossus. EMP's on everything.
Oh, but some nice pick off there with the Archon and the Stalkers.
But again, what we are severely lacking here is blink for the Stalkers. Zealots charging in and doing a ton of damage, but these Templar have no energy. Those EMPs were beautiful.
He has one storm, but it gets dodged and...
Yeah, not the most effective. Trying to warp in an Archon. But even then, it's going to be annihilated.
Leaves, but it's going to be charge and Stalkers against it.
Mothership Core throwing down that overcharge. I don't think it's enough though here, Nova.
No, one more Storm and a very good one from the flank with that High Templar, but he needs an Archon.
Oh, look at those snipes.
Oh, the snipes.
You just hear it going off. Pew, 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 and all the Zealots getting eradicated. GG!
Wow. Close game, though.
That was, for a while, a close game, but HeRoMaRinE just kind of snowballed towards the end, man.
Yeah, yeah.